This video was sponsored by Beam Jobs. More on that later. Guys, the software engineering industry is kind of in shambles right now. Employment rates are at all-time lows. Dev and AI is out to get us, but you still need a software engineering job. And well, what's the best way to do that? It's by upgrading your resume. So to help you guys out, I asked a bunch of my friends from companies like Apple, Uber, Amazon, and HubSpot to give you guys some of the 5 best tips on how you can improve your resume and create the best software engineering resume that will get you that software engineering internship. So without further ado, let's get started and get those interviews. Number 1, showing numbers and statistics for your achievements. Showing provable numbers and statistics for your achievements is probably the best ways that you can improve your resume. You want to highlight your experiences and accomplishments with lots of numbers and statistics. This way, it really legitimizes the work that you did, and it also makes it seem really impactful. You want to format it such that the point uses the XYZ method, which is that I did X using Y, achieving Z. Now, a good example of this is the following. I achieved an identification accuracy of 87% in over 200 tests by utilizing so-and-so's API. Or I integrated automation testing libraries into a mobile app, increasing testing efficiency by 30%. Having these sorts of statistics on your resume make your contributions seem much more realistic and make it obvious that you can produce results and contribute directly to the company. Sometimes what a lot of people do is they kind of make up these numbers and statistics, but they still keep them kind of realistic, and just don't blow these numbers fully out of proportion when you do make them. Eliminating fluff and random stuff. Now, you want to keep your resume really focused only on the really important stuff like experiences and skills that are related to actual job. Like sure, having stuff about your hobbies and stuff like that kind of show that you're a well-rounded person, but overall, they aren't really going to fully contribute to your appeal as an engineering candidate. These recruiters honestly just want to see if you have the skills and experience to get the necessary work done rather than what you do in your free time. They mainly learn about your personality and hobbies and everything through the job interview itself. So just ensure that your resume is mainly catered towards the actual relevant experience related to the job, and leave maybe just one bullet point most to talk about your hobbies if it's something that really stands out to you, like maybe you went to the Olympics or something like that. Emphasizing leadership and contributions. You really want to talk about all the key parts of when you led a project or played a major role in kind of like your team's success. You should really try doing this by using powerful leading action words like led, persuaded, formulated, negotiated, developed, authored, managed. A big part of the resume too is about like the wording. So if you have kind of like really bold wording in your resume, then that really makes it stand out. Kind of shows that you're a leader and some person that kind of really likes taking things on. Like you could try using phrases like, I led a team of 12 organizers to host Canada's largest hackathon. This is something that employers really like because highlighting your direct contributions and leadership abilities, it shows that, you know, you're gonna have the potential to be your own leader and find a way to solve issues through the team, but not always be dependent on the team. A lot of times they're looking for someone who can work well with a team and has like great collaboration skills, which is amazing. But they also want someone who is a great leader as well and can kind of lead their own way to find the answer and find the solutions on their own at the same time. Optimize for content over formatting. You want to focus more on the content itself rather than the formatting in your resume. Obviously, having a clean layout is something that's really important to have, but there isn't really much that you can actually do that's going to help you stand out a lot. Most of the time, just having Jake's resume, the overleaf template for your engineering resume is sufficient enough. Like I wouldn't try overemphasizing like a lot of the fancy formatting at the expense of your content. So yeah, so I'm just gonna lay out some basic tips for styling that you should probably follow. These are just basic fundamental rules that most people follow that you kind of shouldn't really break at all. So make sure you don't have 2-column resumes. You might hear this a lot online, and there's actual psychological studies that prove why 2-column resumes are the worst ever. There's something called the F and Z patterns, which is the psychology of how humans read. You want to make it the easiest for your recruiter to read your resume. And what the F and Z pattern really talks about is that if your resume is in a single column type of format, then it makes it significantly easier and more intuitive for a recruiter to actually read your resume. If you make it a 2-column resume, then it's actually way less intuitive and goes against the psychology of how humans naturally read. So you don't want to make a 2-column resume. It puts you at a significant disadvantage and it just looks super unprofessional at the same time. The next tip is putting your education at the top of your resume if you graduated. or if you went to a more prestigious university. Otherwise, if you aren't really at a prestigious university and you didn't graduate, then you should probably put your education actually at the very, very bottom of the resume. Third tip is don't overdo the coloring and the font styling. This kind of takes away from the content of the resume as well as don't go overboard with like some of the symbols, because sometimes that can mess up with the parsing. And then another tip is how you format the resume with all these different sections. Now you want to have either education at the very top or very bottom based on what we said before, and then you definitely want to have skills and then experience and then projects and then achievements. Achievements is kind of optional. You don't really have to have that if you don't really want to show that. I know a lot of people, they don't really have an achievement section, so it doesn't really matter. The main things are the experience, projects, and skill sections. You really want to have those. Another tip is try to have like a maximum of 3 points per experience with kind of like a maximum of 19 bullet points on your whole resume, because you don't want to add too much information to the point where the recruiter doesn't really want to read that at all. Another good point is bolding some important statistics and numbers, as well as keywords that will really make some of your points stand out. Overall though, I'd say like just try to keep it simplistic, make the font basic and minimalistic, and the coloring should also be kind of minimalistic, and other than that, for styling, that should be sufficient. But yeah, to really emphasize it, you should always mainly focus on the content of the resume itself first. And that's probably the biggest mistake I made in first year, was that like I kind of focused way too much on formatting. I kind of neglected how important obviously the content in the resume was itself. As long as your resume is readable and professional, like literally just using Jake's resume, then your resume should already be decently fine. Just make sure you have some good experience, projects, and skills that you can actually put on your resume. Like literally, instead of worrying about styling, you should kind of focus on honing those skills on your resume and kind of gaining the experience, whether through design teams or projects. But if you want to know more about that, I have a video about that on how to get a software engineering internship in 2024, where I really talk about gaining that experience and etc. Speaking of making a good software engineering resume, I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, BeamJobs. BeamJobs is a resume builder which has helped build over 2 million resumes within the past few years. And through it, users have been able to land internships at companies like Google, Meta, and Stripe. What I love a lot about BeamJobs is its simplicity. You can easily pick from a bunch of professional templates, and they'll all have kind of like a simplistic and effective modern look that you can't go wrong with. What I like most though is kind of they have this cool feature where it kind of analyzes and provides a score for an existing resume. And here I just uploaded my resume to the platform, and then it'll just give me a score. Now, initially, I got a low score, but then by applying a lot of the advice, I was able to improve the score that BeamJobs gave me. It's pretty simple making a resume on BeamJobs as well. So what you can do is you go to the resume section and go to the resume builder. And then you can choose from a bunch of the templates. I'm going to choose this one because it's the most professional looking one. And then I'm just going to choose industry example. And here, I'm going to choose software engineer. And afterwards, you're going to be left with a resume that's going to look amazing, great, simple, and it's going to be effective. So check out BeamJobs today. It'll be a great investment. And yeah. Our next tip, putting keywords. Putting keywords on your resume is extremely important because all employers use this thing called an applicant tracking system scanner, or an ATS scanner, which scans the text on the resume and then it checks for keywords throughout the resume. What you should do is analyze the job description on the job application site, and then you can actually use ChatGPT to kind of automate and like put like keywords, and it'll be more efficient than just like trying to manually add the keywords on your own. Whatever guys, like just work smarter, not harder. What you could do is try to make multiple resumes that have, or that are more catered towards different job roles. Like for example, you could have a specific resume just catered towards back-end software engineering jobs, and then you can have a resume that's more catered towards front-end development jobs. Try to make multiple resumes, modify the keywords accordingly. Experience is everything. Honestly, apart from everything in this video, experience is probably the most important part of your resume. I know a lot of the times people really like to focus on the formatting of the resume, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's really what you have on the resume and what you have as your work experience that really matters. What my friend from HubSpot recommends is just starting as early as possible. This is really if you're in high school, you want to start as early as possible. That way you can get ahead in the game faster than everyone else. If you're going that extra mile and doing a lot of unpaid internships throughout high school, then you're going to be miles ahead of your peers who didn't have that industry experience going into university. What my friend said is that the earlier you start, the easier it is to succeed, and the later you start is just harder and harder. So just spam on emails and work for free if you're in high school and get that experience up, and you'll be chilling. So guys, I hope this video helped. Just applying these tips will honestly just improve your resume. Even if marginally, it'll at least improve it by a bit, and you know, just get it graded on BeamJobs and see how that goes as well. I know the software industry is kind of looking a bit grim, So hopefully these tips can help you guys out with getting an engineering internship. Also, I wanted to say I'm so grateful for the 750 subscribers, guys. Hopefully we can reach 1,000 subscribers soon. Follow my Instagram, jlau.04. Link will be in the description down below. And yeah, just know that there's always going to be hope out there, guys. Stay hopeful, guys. Stay positive and stay faithful. Know that everything is going to be fine and everything's going to go well for you guys. My name's Jlau, and peace.
1 a.m. eyes closed, I'm slowly falling to the music and the atmosphere. Now and then I feel lights fade.